All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. It's a pleasure to have all of you. And of course, thanks to Arnaud and NEWPHARMA. So the point of today is having a first view on robotics, on order preparation. Of course, we're going to try to make it quite short because we know you are also here for the visit and seeing the real topics. So we're going to just start with a presentation, maybe between half an hour and 1 hour, just to give you the context and to explain you what has been done here inside of the NEWPHARMA installation. And here, thanks again, Arnaud.
You're welcome. So yes, a little bit of introduction. So my name is Arnaud Guilaine. I'm the head of operations here at NEWPHARMA. I will explain you the company after. On my side, I'm used to work at NEWPHARMA now since 2021, I think. Before, I was used to work for bpost, so the Belgian Post. I was responsible of a sorting center, so a bit more complex than here, but it's another complete other environment. And before that, in fact, I come from the internal audit. So for the ones who know, I was used to work for AGC, so the glass maker, Japanese company. So for the company, I used to travel around the world to audit, in fact, all the factory sites, and that gave me, in fact, the taste to go on the other side, and instead of auditing, to managing those sites, and that's why I'm here today. Rémi?
Yes, and from my side, for those who don't know me, my name is Rémi Badarou, working for the SCALLOG company for a little bit more than 5 years now, and in charge of all of the project out of France, because as you can hear from my accent, I'm from France. So mostly Europe and also north of America. These are the two principal markets we work on. And pleasure for working on this company. Also in charge of the networks of partners. I'm going to have the occasion a little bit later to speak, and we have Raoul also here from our local partners, because it's important for us to find companies we share the same DNA with, so also animation of this network.
So let's talk about NEWPHARMA. So you made a long road to come here today. Thank you, in Liège. So, in fact, the company is born here in Liège. In fact, the first idea to have an e-commerce for the parapharmaceutical and pharmaceutical product comes from a pharmacist from Liège, in fact. And the concept grew and then was bought by an entrepreneur. And this entrepreneur, in fact, sold it to Colruyt Group. In fact, in 2021. So as I said, we are in pharmacy, in fact. So we are not just an e-commerce site. We are a real pharmacy with real pharmacists working here. I will show you their office later during the tour. And now, so yeah, like a normal pharmacy, we sell to customers. So we are mainly B2C. And we sell parapharmaceutical products, so it could be skincare or things like this, vitamins, but also medicines, but medicines without subscription. That's important because we are not allowed, for the moment at least, to sell drugs under prescription. We are now in the top 3 players in Europe, because we don't sell only to Belgium, but we sell to France, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Switzerland, because that's the physical Europe, not the EU only. Spain, Italy, Germany a little bit. I say a little bit because it's a tough market, so we are only slightly inside. And we'll see later to go further. But they are top players. They're also in the top 3. And a little bit also in Austria, in fact. So the key figures here at NEWPHARMA, we have a very wide range of products. That's something very specific for that kind of e-commerce. We have almost 50,000 different references on our website. That figures is maybe the most important one you have to take into account for the solution we took, the robotic solution we decided to take, because we have a lot of constraints because of this. You can have other flows if you have only 2,000 products, but with 50,000, it's much more difficult. But thanks to those 50,000 products, we are an accessibility champion, as we said. We are missing maybe 6% of sales because we are missing a product. In fact, we have more products than a wholesaler in pharmacy. That's the key in our business, because we don't want a customer to come and buy only a part of his basket here and the rest at the pharmacy. No, we want to say we can provide you everything. That's the idea. Thanks to that and a good working environment, I would say, we managed to get NPS, so Net Promoter Score, of 77. So again, for the ones in e-commerce, it's something quite familiar. For the others in the industry, maybe not. That's how you can feel the customer satisfaction. Because if you have shops, physical shops, it's easier. But here, as it's on e-commerce, it's more complex. So in fact, the NPS, when you order something online, you receive a satisfaction email later, and you rate from 0 to 10. And the consequence of that's this NPS, in fact. And the whole e-commerce works like that. Sorry?
When you respond.
Yeah, when you respond, of course, the level of response is very low, for sure. But we send a lot of them, hopefully. What you see here in this premises is only a part of NEWPHARMA. We have more than 300 employees, but we have a big part of the employees which is also in Romania, but that's mainly the IT development part, because in fact all our systems, IT systems, even in the operations, marketing, website, etc., everything is homemade. We develop our own system. It's an historical reason, because we started a long time ago, like you saw, like 15 years ago. At that time, they had no solution that fit our business. So we developed ourselves, and then we decided to have a company there, etc., etc. The last figure is more for Colruyt Group when they visit, but they have a fidelity system for the whole Colruyt Group, which is called Extra. And we have already 4.4 million customers buying at NEWPHARMA through the Extra app, in fact. Here in this building, the majority of the operations is done here. We have some operations also in Switzerland, but I will come back to that later. The building, in fact, is not 26,000 square meter ground. It's on 3 floors. Okay, that's the particularity. When we will make the visit, you will see it. As I said, we have almost 50,000 products here. Here it's not true. We have in fact 2/3 of this here, and 1/3 that is provided every day by the wholesaler. So we are a pharmacy, and as another pharmacy, we are delivered 3 times a day by the wholesaler. The difference is that in normal pharmacy, they deliver like 3 boxes, and for us, they deliver a small truck. So that's the difference. But it helps to have the very, very low rotation items to be kept at the wholesaler side, or products that we cannot provide directly. Yeah. So I told you 26,000 square meter. Here every day we process between 9,000 to 12,000 orders per day. In one order, on average, you have 4.5 items. So you can imagine that we move 50,000 items here every day, and we send it to the customers. We have what we call a customer promise. It means that when you order before noon, you are delivered the very next day in Belgium and in part of France too. Otherwise, it's 2 days for the rest of the Europe. Which means that we have to be very quick in our business. On SCALLOG side, that's the figures, in fact, for SCALLOG side. We pick every day between 10,000 to 13,000 items. And we can restock, replan in the SCALLOG installation up to 24,000 articles per day. But you will see that later. So now about SCALLOG.
All right, so a few words about SCALLOG. It's going to be quick. Important to know we are based in France, as I said earlier. Not only for the teams, but also this is where the production is, because we're specialized in robotics. And something that we are very proud of is that everything that we manufacture is more than French, let's say European. The huge majority of the parts that are used come from France, but Germany, Belgium, Italy. So that's really a European solution that we provide, something that we are proud of. We were founded a little bit more than 10 years ago now by Olivier Rocher, our current CEO. And we are leader in this technology that you're going to discover in maybe half an hour now, which is basically mobile shelf goods to person. We work with lots of different kinds of company. So we have now approximately 50 customers with 8 installations. Of course, we're French, so we started in France, but now almost each country in Europe. We have also installation in America, in Canada. Last year in Dubai, started also in this place. And it can be lots of different, let's say, verticals in industry. It can be cosmetics, work with Clarins, with L'Oréal, for example. Pharmaceutical industry, of course, here with NEWPHARMA. Lots also in aeronautics, working with Thales, with Airbus. All of these customers have in common, even if they are not in the same field, is that they work and they do order detailed preparation. And for that's the reason why we decided, and I say we, but I was not there, but our CEO decided to create this solution, which is, as you can see here from the picture, goods to person system. So the principle is very simple. Instead of having the operators that will go to grab the products will be brought directly to them, avoiding to waste 70% of their time. And more than the technology itself, what's important is also the reason why we made that is we visited a lot of warehouses, discussed with a lot of logistic director, and when you discuss with them, almost all of them have similar pain points. Difficulties for human resources, finding people, keeping them, having them working in ergonomics condition. That's one of the points. Always being more efficient, because competition is hard also. So if you want to stay on top, you also need to have tools to be faster, to do less mistakes, particularly in e-commerce when you were talking about the promises that you do. So being reliable on this part. And also having something, a tool that can follow the real stakes and the real evolution of the warehouse. Because what you need today may be different than what you need tomorrow. So having something that can evolve was also something very important for them. And with the solution that has been created, we wanted to have these points and making sure that we target all of them. With robotization, you can work with less people, so allowing them, however, to work on better condition. You have lots of system, you have light system to make sure that no mistakes can be done when they use the system. And you will discover it, and there's an interesting story here because that's what we're doing and that's what we will do in the following months. But the solution has been made and created to evolve. So it can start from a small point, it can grow, it can be moved from one warehouse to another one. So that's also the way that you can really follow the real stakes of a warehouse. So that's what we do at SCALLOG. It was important also for us to speak about partnership because we're very proud of the technology that we have. But which important also is how you put it into practice and with which company you work. And in the Benelux territory, we are also very proud to work with the company Vanas. So Vanas is an integrator, meaning that basically their job is to help all of the customer, whatever the pain point that they can face. So order preparation, of course, but also packing and all kinds of organization. So here we have a few examples of the different possibilities they can provide. If you have any question, you can ask Raoul, who is there representing Vanas. And we share the same DNA, and we're sure that combining our technology with their skill, knowledge on the market, and also possibility to be more than the picking parts is something that bring a lot of value to our customers. And that's why we work together in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and in the Luxembourg. So this partnership was made after the NEWPHARMA installation, but this is how we work right now, and we have this kind of partnership everywhere around the world.
So now the challenges that we faced at NEWPHARMA. So some of you are from the e-commerce maybe, or it's more industrial or logistic, or a little bit. Okay. Something specific which is not written here is that we have very low margins. So the e-commerce is based on volume, but low margins because that's the war of the price. It's the same for you. If you think about what you will buy on internet, what you will do is to check for the best price. That first constraint really shape our decision also on what we will invest. Also, another point that is not here is that e-commerce is quite, it fluctuates a lot. It's not like in industry where you can see your production line on the few months and you see exactly the number of units that you will produce every day, the same thing and things like that. We have to adapt every day to the customer demand. And as I said, we don't say, oh, we have too many orders today, we will do it tomorrow. No, we said that we will do it today. That's the promise. On the other hand, yeah, the customer have high expectation with this low price. Okay, that's something that you have to keep in mind. And so we were looking for a solution that could, of course, speed up our process of order preparation, but also we can be able to handle the peak periods like Black Friday, sales in January, and on the other side, the low periods too, summertime, when you are not in front of your computer. Hopefully now we have an app, so you can also, of course, order with your mobile. So you can do it even if you are on holidays. I make the promotion at the same time. So also something else which is quite important, B2C customers, so those customers, they really don't want to receive something that they did not order. Of course, we cannot have an error. And an error is really costly for us. Again, with small margins, it means that when we send something by mistake, we have to resend the good thing to the customer. We have to pay also the price to get back the wrong items. If you compare this with the low margin, in fact you lost money for that order. So really reducing errors are very important. Working condition, I would say it's the same for all of us, I think. We need to have a really ergonomic place now, to have people in good shape and to avoid some illness, etc. You know the story. I don't have to explain you, I'm sure. And the other point, you know the story, I'm sure too. Labor shortage. It's very difficult for all of us. That's one of the reasons we stay in Liège here, is that we had already a good environment to have some workers here, to find some at a reasonable cost. But still, the competition is high, and we have a lot of time people that are leaving for another company. We need to take another one to train them. We need 1 or 2 months to get them productive enough. So it's really also a painful point. And of course, the last point, you know, also, I'm sure, to optimize space. Space is costly. So we try really to... Here, we have a nice building, but you have to know that we moved like 5 to 6 times on the previous 15 years. So the new thing for NEWPHARMA is that we don't need to move. In fact, we were used to move each time, and we, in fact, wait to be here to have a good building to invest in some robotic solution, in fact. Because when you rent a warehouse, you cannot buy something that you will invest on long term. So SCALLOG really was the best solution for us, because it really matched perfectly what we needed.
Yeah, exactly. And what's important for this kind of robotics projects, okay, robots are fun, robots are fine, but if you only focus on the technology, you'll never have something that makes sense. You need to follow a path together in collaboration with the customer to make sure of this successful implementation. First point, obviously, is the analysis, because you need to have a deep understanding of how the site works. That's what we did with NEWPHARMA, understanding the constraints, understanding the flow, what goes in, what goes out, and also what we need to take into account, because with all of the SKU that you have also, that's our job to guide and say, that's the perfect scope to put inside of the system to reach the maximum of efficiency, and also to have the better return of investment, because at the end of the day, that's also what's matter. So analysis is a key point. Once that we have done this and that we have said, okay, that's the number of shelves, number of robots, that the process, that's also the organization of the workstation. That's something that you will see afterwards, that we, let's say, tailor for each of the customer. You can go to the integration phase, which is also obviously essential, making sure that you can connect, let's say, peacefully with the IT system, which sometimes can be a little bit tricky depending on the WMS, on the ERP that exists inside of the warehouse. But essential points also to take into account the physical constraint here in the building. Then you have the installation. One of the pros is that it's quite short, just assembly of the shelf, putting tape on the floor and having the robots that navigate. In a few weeks, it can be done as long as we have made a good preparation before. step afterwards is the testing. Of course, all of the robots are tested in France before, but now that's the occasion to do the, let's say, the real run in real condition, saying how they operate and doing the last changes if it's required to. And last phase is going to be the deployment, also where you have the ramp-up phase, where you have to make sure another essential point about the training of people, making sure that all of the different personas that can have, let's say, a relation with the solution. So the operators, obviously, but also the manager of the system, the supervisor, making sure that everyone has the correct amount of training to use the system is going to be obviously a key point. And then you can finish this deployment that can be done either in one shot or also, and that's what has been done here, starting with the first scope. And then if you need to, let's say, adapt, adjust, adding a little bit more shelf or things like that, that's also absolutely possible with the solution. And once that the system runs, everything has been tested, validated in terms of productivity, reliability, and availability, then of course you are in the run phase. If I tell you that everything's work always by magic and there's nothing to do, I will be a liar. It's technology, it's not magic. So you need to make sure that you have also the proper training to make the solution operate. And that's also the key point, and that's an interesting way to work that we have with NEWPHARMA. What's key in their business, particularly with the promise of delivering the customer day plus one, if there's a problem with the solution, I don't know, there's something with a robot or whatever, we need to be able to act fast. And for this, it's made possible by two things. First, the solution itself. So we made sure when we created that robots are, let's say, easy to maintain, easy to operate. We also make sure that they are spare parts on site directly that can be used if you need to make changes. And more than this, also that the question of organization. What we decided here with NEWPHARMA, also because they are the good people that can be trained, is that we provided more than what we usually do, making sure that usually we do, let's say, level 1 for our customers, but because you have good people with good brains, it was allowed to provide more than this. So a very good level of autonomy.
Good technical team inside. It's really our technical team. It's not a subcontractor. So they are here. We have three persons full time here all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And having this technician combining with also the remote support from SCALLOG allow to almost, let's say, target 95% or something like that of the problem that could occur. And same as for the solution, even let's say the contract can be tailored. Here in your case, if I'm correct, that's also for the weekend that was decided to continue and having this remote support from SCALLOG.
Yes. To insist on that point, really the good thing with SCALLOG solution is that when a robot fails, it doesn't stop your installation. So I visited a lot of other systems in the pharmaceutical business, and usually they use some tours, a big carousel from Knapp, I think, some of them. And the problem is that installation, it's when there's something wrong, everything is stopped. Here, if we have an issue with one robot, we can just put the robot on the maintenance side, and then our technician can directly see what's going wrong and repair it. So that's a very big advantage. Now with the previous years, in fact, here, so since 2022, 2021, really we had an implementation phase that Remy explained, that it's not, they don't come with the robot and everything works. Of course, you need to invest time also on your side to make it work correctly. But really, I have to say that on the last years, I saw SCALLOG growing in terms of experience and professionalism, we can say, yeah. And they have really now a good support team, really professional and really reactive. And if at the beginning we had a lot of issues, like with all new installation, now we have really something reliable, really. And if we have something with a robot, usually it's more something like a piece that you have to change because you need to change some pieces on your robot. It's like on a car. And yeah.
Yeah, just to finish on this second point of failure, that's a very important topic also, because here it's a good example. You need to respect the promises that you have to your customers. So if you don't, that's a problem. That's an image and a business problem. So of course we want to avoid that. But we even have some customer where the activity is even more sensitive. We have some customer in the defense area, for instance, where making sure that having the products at the right time is essential. And if I push also further, we even have customers in the hospital. And in the hospital, it's a project that is in phase of installation, so that's going to be live this year. What's going to be stored inside of the system, it's going to be pieces and parts for the operation, for the surgeon. So you can imagine how sensitive it is. If you don't have the pieces when you need to, it's not image, it's potentially the life of patients that we're talking to. And the fact that whatever can happen, whatever there's a problem, they can still use the system, even there's no electricity or things like that. There's always a way to continue and grab the things if you need to, was one of the, let's say, decision point for them, and one of the reasons why they trust the solution so much.
Yeah, so I explain a little bit. And so that's our warehouse. You will see it. It's on 3 floors. In fact, we got the building before deciding to invest in SCALLOG. So with the roof constraint also, really, again, SCALLOG was the perfect solution for that. So for the moment, we have 1,500 square meters dedicated to SCALLOG. You will see later that we have an extension that is scheduled this year. I think it's in fact already on the next slides, no? Ah, sorry. So I spoiled. No, yeah, yes.
Yeah. Also, so using the height is obviously essential. It was true yesterday. It's even more true today. So of course, you're going to see it, but SCALLOG use shelf and use robots. So usually the size of the shelf are around 2.2 meters. So very often when we have discussion around that is, okay, potentially in my building, I have 5 meters, 6 meters, 10 meters. How can I use also the height? Because I don't want to lose this. So one of the solutions is what you're going to see. So I will not speak too much about that because you're going to have the real life demonstration. It's basically using different levels. So using mezzanine, things that also we can integrate directly. So we have projects that we can do with Vanas, for instance, where there's no mezzanine. That's a full integrated solution that can be put inside of the warehouse. Another way of using the height is what you can see now currently on the screen. Basically, that's one of, let's say, the preview, because it will be officially announced very soon. And if you intend to visit the C4L in Paris in a few weeks, you're going to have the occasion to see this real life, because we're going to demonstrate it. The principle is what we call SCALLOG under rack. Everything is basically inside of the name. What we want is using, let's say, the best of both worlds, bulk storage with pallets on top of a SCALLOG solution. So the way that it works is very simple. On the ground floor, you have a SCALLOG system that is basically under the racks. It works the best if you can make sure and organize to have shelf on top that are, let's say, kind of slow rotation that you can do in the morning, for example, or at the end of the day. But the principle during the day is that when you need the SCALLOG system, so you continuously work and you do this order preparation, as any SCALLOG site. And if at a moment there's a need to grab things inside of the pallet, well, you just have a button at the workstation. Everything, so all of the robots, all of the SCALLOG robots that are currently working will stop and will move to avoid being on the path. And at this moment, in 3 minutes, you will have a door with forklift that can enter inside of the zone, take the pallets that are needed, going out, and then you can just continue working inside of the SCALLOG zone. So this combination allows to avoid any waste of space and still have this flexibility and also using the existing site. So we can do this, of course, if it's a greenfield, you can install that, but doing retrofits of current installation and doing this, installing this under existing racks is obviously something that our customers are looking forward to.
So here a bit of figures on our installation, the current installation. Now I told you it's 1,500 square meters. We have in fact 4 picking stations. We have normally 3 picking stations and 1 replenishment station. The improvement we made 2 years ago is to have this replenishment station able to switch to a picking station. So we are more flexible on that. When we have peak time, we open the 4 stations at picking, and when we have downtime, we can on the other side have 2 stations dedicated to replenishment. We have currently 23 robots. We had previously 20 robots. We took 3 of them to increase the pace to cover more our peak times. And to keep the pace, even if we have the 4 stations dedicated to picking, because you need more robots for picking than for replenishment. We have currently 280 shelves in this installation, and I think if you switch to so basically, I would show you with the tour. We'll start by the ground where we have our, let's say, old human process, the one that grew with NEWPHARMA. In fact, we start from very small, and we try to adapt that process. This process is still applied, is still not bad, let's say, because we can easily switch to a bigger space when needed for peak times again. So there are some advantages, but also some drawbacks. And if you compare, in fact, with SCALLOG, so it's quite easy for me to compare SCALLOG productivity with the human normal one. We have an increase of 50% of productivity with SCALLOG, with the installation we have for the moment. In fact, we don't have our whole stock in SCALLOG, otherwise it would be another size. And because of our kind of business, we have a very long tail. So we have some items that are well sold, but it's maybe 5,000 ref SKU. And we have 44,000 that are sold less, but we need them on the website. So we decided to put the good ones in SCALLOG, in fact, and the other one on another storage zone. And now, in fact, we have in 50% of our orders, we have at least one SCALLOG product. So if you count it in terms of items, 20 to 22% of our volume every day is in SCALLOG for the moment. Now, in fact, the idea for this year, so now it's scheduled, and we hope it will be in place by June, July, something like that. We'll go to 7 stations, 36 robots, 200 shelves in addition to the 280. And it will represent in total 2,300 square meters. There are a lot of advantages. Also, I'm not sure we talk about that, but the footprint, the square meters needed for your stock. In fact, the fact that the robot goes below the shelf and you can store them one next to the other, you don't need a space for a human to go through and to pick items. So you save 1/3, I would say, of square meters for the storage, which is quite good when you don't have the whole space that you need. With that, I'm not sure they are. Yes, okay, there are figures. Good. We intend, in fact, to go through for the moment 1,700 SKU in the installation to 5,000 with the extension. So it's three times more. And we extend only by 60% the size of the installation, because there are two things. I would like to highlight that, because it's important how you will use SCALLOG. So for the moment, when we have an SKU, we put the whole quantity in SCALLOG. That's it. But for top sellers, we receive some time, 2 to 3 months of volume at once. So I use, in fact, too much space in SCALLOG, more than needed. In fact, now we are working on another way of working. And we will put only 23 days of daily sales in the installation, and the rest will be out of SCALLOG in the buffer zone. So thanks to that, we will double the number of reference of SKU inside SCALLOG. So we'll go from 1,700 to 3,000, let's say. And with the extension, we'll go to 5,000. In fact, when we started 3 years ago, we had less volume, so it wasn't an issue. But now we sell too much, and so we should put too many items in the installation. Also, the number of full order managed by SCALLOG. So I mean that all the items ordered by the customer are inside the installation. We should also increase by 100% the number of those kind of items. Yeah, so that's the summary there of the future installation. Another business case, I told you we are also in Switzerland. So in the past, we were used to prepare orders from Switzerland here in Belgium. But as you may know, customs, it takes time and money also, but it takes always money, even in Switzerland, I can tell you. So for e-commerce, sometimes customer had to wait up to 7 days to receive the order in Switzerland. So we decided to open a warehouse there. A small one to start. We opened it last July. And now the goal is to work like 1 year, 1.5 years there to see the volume growing, and then to invest in this starter kit, SCALLOG starter kit. It's knowing the cost of the employment in Switzerland. The business case is quickly done. Really, you don't have to sell a lot to invest in the SCALLOG installation. So the starter kit is composed of 4 robots, 1 station, and 40 mobile shelf.
Yeah, basically what we call the starter kit is starting small to prepare the future. And it can be seen, let's say, 2 ways. First one is exactly the approach that Arnaud has just described. Okay, for the month, the flow is quite low. So we can start small, and then we know that when I need more capacity, I just add one more station, I just add more shelves for more storage, more robots, etc., etc. So that's the first approach. The second one also is done even for, let's say, we've done a design. We know that for a certain customer, there's, I don't know, 40 robots needed, that there's already 5 workstation, 400 shelf. But we suggest, why not starting small? We know that for you, for some of the company, automation project can be scary. It can have some risk that you don't know exactly how to target. So we know that we need to go there. But if you have the occasion, if you have the possibility and we have the space, we can start small. So we will handle all of the points that can scare you. Let's say IT interface, for example, targeting change management, because how the approach of robotics is targeted towards the operators, that they need to accept the solution, it needs to become their tool. So being able to do this, it's really not a POC, it's not a proof of concept, because the concept, we know it works. It's more finding together a third scope. And once that we have made all of these points, we can also work like on the field, on the ergonomics, making sure that the workstation is perfectly fitted for the way that it works. So you have the right of, let's say, trying things. And once that everything has been validated and we have a go, it can be used, I don't know, after 1 month, 3 months, or whatever the time that you need. One that you push on the button, all of these sensitive points have already been done, and you can just easily increase the rest of the side, and it can be done in a very short amount of time. So that's a philosophy that is really appreciated, and the DNA itself of the solution allows to do that. And yeah, let's say short conclusion, because I'm sure that you are all eager to see it real life. That now that you have seen lots of pictures, hope that you have now a better view of what robotics can bring, let's say, inside of the warehouse, with a very interesting use case like the one that we have with NEWPHARMA. And maybe one last thing to keep in mind is that robotics, at least the way that we see this, is not to replace human, it's really to delete all of the painful parts of their job and allowing them to work in better work condition. That's also something that's essential for us, and something that we share with the teams of NEWPHARMA.